Hey there, Silvertongue Devil here. In this video, we're going to be looking at one of the latest additions to the game, Amulets. I'll be ranking each of the amulets, starting with the worst, and we'll also be looking at their abilities and use.
Right, I'll do you for that.
You what?
Come here.
What are you going to do, bleed on me?
I'm invincible.
You're a loony.
Although the Black Knight is an excellent example of unusual fortitude, he's clearly wearing something better than this amulet. Equipping this one will simply give you an extra block of life to start your run with. This one for me is quite simply the worst amulet in the game. It's not doing anything that we can't already get ourselves in a run. During a game, just picking up the item Titan will do exactly the same thing. Looking at it from the 100% achievement angle, at that stage you will be starting a run with 11 health anyway. Picking up a Titan will then put you to 12. If you take this amulet with you, Titans will not appear in the game and you'll start off at the maximum health. I have tested this one extensively, hoping that we might be able to break that cap in life. This one would have ranked much higher if we could have got up to 13 health that way, but unfortunately that is not the case. At 100% completion, there is one scenario that you are allowed to equip this in. That would be that you are in a dream and that you must immediately wake up and apologize. It's that bad.
I knew exactly what I needed to do. It wasn't writing. It wasn't books. It was much bigger than that.
And I can tell you for free it's not wealth's privilege. Beginning a run with this amulet equipped will give you 1,500 gold. Again, another absolute waste. To put that into perspective, that's about 15, maybe 20 enemies worth of kills. This amulet only ranks slightly higher than the previous one for one small reason. If you are doing shop runs for the specific purpose of buying a special arrow that you are trying to get kills with, having this means that you just have to kill a few less enemies before you can go to the shop and be able to afford it. Other than that, I can find no other reason to even bother with this. With spiritual assistance, you can turn this into something more like this. And before you ask, no, it's not going to improve your accuracy. However, spiritual assistance will increase your shot damage if you don't fully draw the bow. Just like with real life archery, the further you draw the bow string, the more velocity you will get from the arrow. For us, this means increased damage and a shallower arc at all ranges. In game, you can only draw back the bow string so far. So for the vast majority of players, this amulet isn't very useful. However, I am aware of a technique out there that this amulet is ideally suited for, the founder of which needs no introduction. It is, of course, the great Rico at 50. If you want to see it pulled off correctly, go and watch one of his videos, but I'll attempt to simulate it here. It basically involves canting the bow towards you so the bottom edge of the string is slightly closer to you, which then means that you can engage an arrow at a much shorter distance than usual. You'll notice from his techniques that he doesn't fully draw. Couple this with that taffy pull action and you're coming close to how he uses the bow. What you lose in damage with this technique, you more than make up for with an increased rate of fire. From the moment I saw the effects of this amulet, I rebranded it personally as the Rico Assist. This amulet at least gives us a unique effect that we can't achieve in the game any other way. However, it is only really useful to the select few. I'm still holding out for my own amulet. It's obviously going to be called the Devil's Advocate, and it will simply restore Barrage of Needles to its former glory. We can but hope. And don't even think about equipping this if you use the crossbow. I hope the reason's obvious.
My turn.
Although this one won't turn us into an idea and make us bulletproof, resistance privilege will give us an extra segment of armor, and that is in addition to any armor that you are already starting off with due to achievements. This one is at least reasonably useful to anybody. Extra armor is a reasonably better starting item than anything else that we've seen so far, as it can prove to be quite a rare drop and will also block any amount of damage at those higher cycles. Although this one is a little bit more useful than previous amulets, it's still not giving us anything that we can't pick up in a run already. The maximum number of armor you can carry is 3, and unfortunately resistance privilege will not raise that cap either.
Look at I got.
They say every great villain has a weakness, and the big guy in IDU is no exception. Anakims' flaw simply reduces his base health. Having done a fair bit of testing on this, I've worked it out that it's approximately 20% or 1/5. Now, that is really good at earlier cycles, however, I foresee a couple of problems. First off, although this amulet is unique in its effects, it's only useful on one boss in the entire game. Now granted, that boss is the gatekeeper for most players getting to those higher cycles. Which leads me nicely on to part 2 of the problem with Anakim's flaw. If you are taking on Anakim at those higher cycles, it is a must to use Winter's Bite. And how is Winter's Bite's tick damage calculated? You got it, 5% of the enemy's maximum health. Funnily, although that's what the Freezing Hell achievements card actually says, it really does 5% of the enemy's current health, which is why you always get diminishing returns on Winter's Bite the more you use it on a boss or enemy. So if we're reducing the maximum health of Anakim by 1/5, we're also decreasing the effectiveness of Winter's Bite. It will in essence make the Cataclysm finish within this tactic a little bit more effective, and I do like this one because it's going to open up possibilities of other arrows that don't do damage based on enemy current health. The long and the short of it is this one gets second place because there is a flaw within the flaw. However, I do really like this amulet because it's going to make some of my Masters in a Minute combos against Anakim that don't involve Winter's Bite even more effective. Although what I think is the best amulet in the game won't give us quite that much ammunition, every bit extra helps. Blessed Quiver will give us an extra 33% ammo for a specific slot. As you should be able to see in the example here, it is the slot to the right or up from the vanilla arrow, depending on how you're holding the bow. You can also tell it apart from a standard quiver slot as it is green. So why do I think this is the best amulet? It's pretty simple. Every time you pick up your favourite arrow and put it in that slot, you're getting more ammunition for it. Every time you reload it with a quiver, you're getting more ammunition for it. Again, this is bringing another unique effect to the game that we can't get anywhere else. Once you're at 100% achievements, there is no other way to increase the amount of special arrows that you get within a quiver of them. Be it putting those essential arrows in there, or the crutches you're currently using to help you get through those earlier cycles, it doesn't matter. More of what you need, when you need it, is always going to be helpful. For me personally, Hand of God goes in there, and it'll stay in there until I'm dead. And a couple of additionals to tidy things up. There is no disadvantage to taking an amulet. Always have an amulet equipped, regardless of what you have, regardless of where it ranks. There's no reason not to have one on. And finally, well done Superbright. Although the selection of amulets at the moment is currently pretty basic, I am really excited for the future of this system and the different directions that it could allow play to take.